Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to look back on Premiership weekend, some of the talking points as well that have emerged out the weekend. Hence why you're seeing this a wee bit later. I wanted to hold off to see if something was going to be announced, not like the last few videos we've put up where I've said stuff and then stuff's announced minutes after I've recorded or minutes after I've uploaded. So, we've actually waited this time. We have got the news. All will be revealed shortly. There were 5 games over the weekend and then one on the Sunday. On the Saturday in the Premiership, we had Celtic 2, Mull 1, Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0. Livingston beat for the first time in what seems like forever, losing 2-1 to St Johnstone. 2-0 win for Dundee United away to Ross County. St Mirren beating Kilmarnock by the same scoreline in Paisley. And then on the Sunday, a great draw for Hamilton, playing Rangers, written off by just about everybody. And I'll include myself, and I didn't really give Accies much of a chance in that one. But they did brilliantly and were unlucky not to win, but still got something for their efforts in the 1-1 draw. So plenty to look back on, plenty of managers to hear from as well. We'll just get straight into it then. Starting at Celtic v Motherwell, there was a decent enough performance from Motherwell. What was probably the most annoying thing for them was that their game plan not went out the window, but it certainly took a hit in the first 2 minutes. Stephen Welsh putting Celtic ahead from a set piece, which I know will disappoint Graham Alexander so early in the game. But Motherwell did well in that to stay in the game and try and cause Celtic problems when they could. Odsonne Edouard takes the game away from them a wee bit in the second half again, striking early in the second half of the match. Alan Campbell, bit of a deflected shot over Scott Bain. That made it 2-1, and arguments for a penalty in the first half when Chris Long went down in the box, but perhaps the more telling chance was Harry Smith's when Dago Laxalt had to clear it off the line, literally with seconds on the clock. It got cleared up the park and then the full-time whistle blew. So whilst it wasn't a victory, it wasn't a draw for Mull, they certainly did enough in that game, maybe. And Graham Alexander's first speaking post-match, he said that perhaps Mull did enough to merit a point in that one. I think if they'd got it, of course, the headlines would have been about Celtic and how they've threw away more points, but I think Mull, you can make an argument. I think over the piece, Celtic maybe just about edged it overall. I think in the first half, David Turnbull coming back to haunt Mull a wee bit, a couple of excellent deliveries into the box, one of which was an assist and dictated play in that game. So he was a really big factor for Celtic in that one and took the game away from his former team a wee bit, but to be expected when you're playing a David Turnbull in form. But Mull will take heart for that. This isn't a game that will define their season. Their big matches are coming up this week, away to Kilmarnock and at home to Hamilton Accies in the Lanarkshire Derby, who they've had a bit of problems with in recent times. Obviously, the most recent one was a 3-0 thumping, really. I mean, it could have been 4 or 5 with Keith Lasley in interim charge and when there was a bit of uncertainty around the manager position at Fir Park. But they're much, much better now, doing really well under Graham Alexander. They've picked up points again away to St Mirren, a point at home to Rangers, which is a decent one. Defeats away to Pittodrie and Parkhead, whilst disappointing, and obviously Mull are underdogs in those games, so perhaps on the face of it weren't expected to get points, and they've won the games they've had to win away to Ross County and at home to Dundee United. So if they get a couple of victories this week, even if they do get 4 points out of 6 or something like that, then Mull should have enough, I think, to allay any sort of relegation fears, although results elsewhere do mean that they are sort of a wee bit outside the top 6 now. 7 points adrift of 6th place St Mirren, and one of Mull's games in hand are against St Mirren. So that could be a really crucial game if Mull get aspirations of moving up the way. But perhaps most importantly for them this season, they don't look like they'll need to look over their shoulder, at least for now, albeit they aren't out of the woods yet. Hibs Aberdeen, I was at this one in what must have been Siberia. I've said for the last 3 or 4 games I've been at, it's the coldest game I've been to this season, but this one just topped it off. I think this has to be the winner. When you're up in the sky in the press box at Easter Road, it's a pretty cold place. But it was obviously a privilege to be here at such a crucial game, and it was one that Hibs were well on top of. Martin Boyle's double sealing the victory there. I was really impressed with Darren McGregor, who is turning 25 instead of 35 by the looks of it in Hibs' defence. Such a good performance for him, but of course Martin Boyle's form was the one that took the most headlines. But again, for Aberdeen, really worrying form for them. The 5 points adrift now from third. It's been well talked about this season. Aberdeen and Hibs players saying, with Celtic's form of late, that they should be pushing for that second place. They probably won't have a better chance at it, given the resources and obviously Rangers and Celtic do possess over Hibs and Aberdeen. But yeah, it's not worked out for them. They're now more than a few games behind Celtic and Saints, so that sort of target does look a wee bit beyond them. And of course, there's mounting pressure on Derek McInnes. Fans are not happy. But at the end of this one, we heard from Jack Ross and Derek McInnes himself. Jack Ross pleased with Martin Boyle's form after a wee bit of time off. I think his dad had took not well, Martin Boyle. So obviously, best wishes to the Boyle family. I think he spoke post-match. Martin Boyle had to run away to get my train, so I wasn't stranded at Easter Road overnight with a blanket. But I think his dad is on the mend, which is great news to hear. But Jack Ross, his manager at Hibs, full of praise for him, whereas Derek McInnes knows his side need to improve. Not happy with the penalty that Martin Boyle dispatched in the first half after Lewis Ferguson brought down Jamie Murphy inside the box.
Yeah, really pleased. I think I've been speaking a lot in recent weeks about the significance of results at this stage of the season, and we got that today. People, I think, got performance and merit. A big performance and a big game from us, so really pleasing. I think for us, recent forms, 4 wins from 5, which is good again as well. And I think we look strong again as a group. We thought maybe a lot of individual players did at the same time, maybe 5-6 weeks ago, and I think at the moment they're all looking strong again and sharp and bright, which is a good sign for us. He's looked back to his best in recent weeks again. He's another one who, again, had a little bit of a dip. Had some personal issues, I think, as well. I spoke about when we left him out a few weeks ago, and I think he benefits from that little bit of a rest, mentally and physically. He's settled a lot now, and bringing Chris to the squad, Chris Cadnan, has helped as well, because it's allowed us to free him up to be able to play and further higher up the pitch and more centrally when we need to. I think he suited the game today, and yeah, he was bright throughout. He probably feel a little bit frustrated that he's not got that hat-trick, but his contribution to the game was excellent.
The pitch was difficult for both sets of players. I thought the penalty decision is a big bearing on the outcome, or certainly how the first half played out. I think it's a poor decision. You know, I like Willie Collin. I think he's one of our best referees. But I just don't see. I think Murphy does well driving into the box, but he toe pokes into the side netting, and Lewis has actually tried to, I think, stop himself getting him. I haven't seen it again. I still think it's such a harsh decision. And I thought from then on, I didn't think we responded well to that. I thought Hibs finished the half the better side. Joe's made a good save from Boyle. I thought Boyle's movement was particularly good. And you'd have to say Hibs had the initiative, and obviously we've tried to make changes, start the second half, bring Henry and McGinn on, try to get the 3 up against the 3 just to try and create a bit more support to big Fraser Hornby, but that does leave us a wee bit exposed as you go man for man a wee bit there, and Boyle's speed and movement capitalised on that. I think that was probably their only chance second half Hibs, but they had the game won. You know, they had the game won at 2-0 and it was up to us, and unfortunately for us, despite all the players' efforts, loads of effort for them, getting into good areas. I know we've hit the bar, but listen, the quality across at the wrong time, or when we get into these moments, wasn't good enough. I have to say that, we have to be honest with that. We've been used to far better than that. We've offered up far better than that over the piece, and you know, it's not a start that we're proud of, and it's disappointing we're on that type of run, but we work hard to try and address that.
In West Lothian, Livingston 1, St Johnstone 2. Probably not the result everybody expected from this one. Either a preview of the League Cup final that will get played at the end of this month, and St Johnstone came out on top, and fair play to them. 2 fullbacks with the goals from 2 set pieces. Scott Tanzer with a free kick in the first half, and Sean Rooney with a header in the second. Livingston not having key players involved like Julian Serrano and John Guthrie. Amazing run. It should be accounted as I record this. Davy Martindale's just won his second Player of the Month, Manager of the Month. That'd be some excitement to see Davy Martindale patrolling the midfield with Scott Pittman like he used to do in the junior days. But yeah, it's a remarkable run. Livingston and clubs the size of Livingston probably won't see the likes of it for a very long time in the Premiership, unless Livingston go on to do it again throughout the rest of the season. Who knows? But 14 games unbeaten, the chance to make it 15. All good things have to come to an end. Albeit they'll be disappointed it's came to an end against the team they probably could. They probably think they can beat when they're on their A game, but some injuries and just not being quite at those levels they have been recently. Against the St Johnstone side, who are on great form themselves, they have hit a good bit of form after that League Cup victory. Sean Rooney doing really well at right back in the position of Danny McNamara after he returned to Millwall, and a good former high school pupil of a certain host of this show's high school. So good to see Sean Rooney doing well. And we heard from Callum Davidson, St Johnstone manager, and Davy Martindale at the end of this one. Callum Davidson doesn't think it'll have a bearing on the League Cup final at the end of this month, where David Martindale admits that it was 2 set pieces that cost Livingston their unbeaten run.
Up to you. What was your take on it? I just find it's two bad goals from your point of view, probably 2 good goals from St Johnstone's point of view. Don't think we defended our box well enough. It was a 10-15 minute spell there. No, in fact, every set play, it was a couple of offsides, but they got the first contacts on a few set plays. They obviously score for a free kick, and then it's a decent header, but I don't think we defended our box well enough, and I think St Johnstone done that better today. I thought their deliveries at set play were better. I thought they were more aggressive going attacking the ball in the set plays, and I thought they defended their box better than us teams, but I think that was wasn't a lot in it, both teams. I think we had a wee opportunity late on, maybe Scott Robinson's get across for a header, but that's really the only passage you play that you could probably say we could have done a wee bit better. Wasn't much in the game, 2 set plays. You've lost the game in 2 set plays. But I just say that again, like, I don't feel any different for how I felt the past 5 years of being at the club. I'm not going to change anything I do. Still coming in tomorrow, we'll still go about the work, we'll still trust the process.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, penalties always change games. And, I thought we battled really hard today. It's a really tough place to come to play. But I think the boys didn't really work in tactics today. I basically worked on the boys' commitment and their attitude to try and get a result. And for me, I thought it showed. So I was delighted. Yeah, definitely. I think obviously it's great for Sean. I think he's been patient this season. I think Danny was superb when he came in. And what Sean gives you, he gives you other things. Both boxes he's great. It was a fantastic header again. So, and Scotty, obviously a free kick went in. I think it bounced off the metal wire and went out, and I didn't actually know it went in. So it was good to hear a few shouts of yes as it went in the net. So good for both of them. Nothing at all. Different place, different pitch. Boys will be fit, injured, so nothing at all. Yeah, definitely. I think that's first and foremost for us. We're looking at trying to make sure we're safe. I think as soon as we can get the wins, more wins, the better for me. So it's a great result, just like Kilmarnock was. Coming back from 2-0 down. So I think the attitude of the players has been terrific in the last probably month. A little bit unlucky against Rangers towards the end as well. So I'm pleased with the performance overall.
Ross County v Dundee United in the Highlands again. Massive 6-pointer this. Dundee United win this one, then they would sort of put themselves closer towards the top 6, but if they lost it, Ross County would just be 2 points behind them, and Ross County started this game in the relegation playoff spot. But for Dundee United, it was a victory. A second half performance getting them over the line. Lawrence Shankland and Ryan Edwards scoring that one. A disappointing one for John Hughes, and they seem to be able to pick up individual results, Ross County, but consistency is the thing that they want to find. And Mickey Mellon obviously delighted. It's been a tough run for them recently. They've not had many wins over the last couple of months, but a much needed one that sort of eases pressure on them a bit. They don't really need to look over their shoulder now. They are, again, a few points clear and a few games clear of the relegation spot. So they perhaps are looking towards that top 6 push. We heard from John Hughes and Mickey Mellon. John Hughes wanting more that consistency from his side. Mickey Mellon detailing what he said to Lawrence Shankland ahead of the strikers' second half.
Oh, there's a little bit of frustration there, because I feel that some of the stuff that we're doing is self-inflicted. But it's my job to try and help them and make them better. And in other times, as you say, it's up and down. Other times when it's no self-inflicted or make that crucial mistake, where we 9 times out of 10 we're winning the game and it's good. So that's a frustration. As you say, it is up and down. There's no consistency performance. But even on Saturday, I felt we were well in the game. We were every bit as good as Dundee United in the first half. I've watched the game back again. A lot of the stuff that we've been trying to implement. We lacked a little bit in the final third, I have to say, in the first half. Second half, we were well on top, and we conceded a real poor goal for our corner. And then after that, the heads sort of just, instead of sort of galvanising us, we've sort of put the heads down a little bit and lost a poor second goal for a set piece. For a set piece that we seem to be doing a lot of late, and we've tried to rectify it and brought everybody back to pitch and try and fix it and no concede for set pieces, and we still get done with one. So that's the frustration. But in terms of them want to learn and try to implement it and try to do the things that I think will win them the game. And it's not in question. They're giving me everything that they've got.
It's a massive result, but it doesn't stop where I believe that where we're at. I just feel, you know, I won't change what I believe my job was here, and that's to keep trying to move forward and developing team into Premiership players, and that's what we'll continue to do. There's loads of, listen, we understood that we had to come up here and get a result. We understood what a big game it was, but I think we showed great composure in doing that, and played very well for 90 minutes.
Looking for that win.
Of course, yeah, of course. Listen, I wouldn't stand here and say football is not about winning games of football. It is all about winning games of football. But what we continue to focus on was trying to get the process of that right, without trying to be too complicated. We worked very hard in trying to give ourselves a good chance of winning games by working on other things. We never lost focus on that. We tried to steer away from putting ourselves under pressure. We knew that we had to win games, and we knew that eventually we believed that a 90-minute performance would come. But we've got to keep going now. Yeah, but I said to him at half time, I said, Wood is a good player, Dale Lawrence. He said he doesn't get disappointed, Gaffer, and he moves on. And he believes that at some stage he's going to get you. And I said, yeah, you'll get him eventually because you're a good player, but you can't dwell on that. This is a lesson that these guys are learning. We do forget that they are coming out of the Championship. We do forget that, and I keep banging on about that. They are learning all the time. I'm not making excuses for us, and I say us because I'm one of them. We're not making excuses, but when the learning opportunity comes, we have to put it into them and hope that they find the consistency of that, you know, and that was a big step forward for us today.
St Mirren versus Kilmarnock was the last game on the Saturday, and it was a 2-0 win for the Buddies. Really like what's happening at St Mirren just now. Some really great young players coming through and playing a really nice brand of football, and they look like pushing towards that top six. Kyle McAllister and John Obika with the goals in this one was enough to settle against a Kilmarnock side. Really in free fall, 5 defeats on the spin. They're in 10th, well in the relegation battle now, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps, for St Johnstone. Obviously, Alex Dyer left by mutual consent after the 3-2 defeat to St Johnstone, but now Tommy Wright is back in Scottish football. The former St Johnstone manager who made himself a legend at McDiarmid Park left last summer after pretty much taking the McDiarmid Park side as far as he could, but he's back at Kilmarnock, signed to the summer of 2023, and he will be the cliched safe pair of hands which should see Kilmarnock survive this season. It'll be a bit odd to see him in another team's jacket when he takes over at Kilmarnock. I should hopefully be his first game when Kilmarnock play Mull. That's going to be an interesting one because if you do remember, Tommy Wright actually was interviewed for the Mull job and Graham Alexander was picked ahead of him. So it'll be an interesting one to see how that pans out. But for Tommy Wright and Kilmarnock, I think it's a good mix. Tommy Wright eager to get back in the game after a well-deserved break from the game, and Kilmarnock in need of a good pair of hands to A, save them this season, but also B, build a nice future for them after. It's obviously been a bit harder since Steve Clarke left. Steve Clarke set heights that only Kilmarnock managers pretty much going forward can dream of, doing so well for the Rugby Park club. Angelo Alessio didn't quite work. Alex Dyer, whilst he had some good results again, it just hasn't quite happened for him. They'll be hoping Tommy Wright can be the man to sort of, whilst it'll be difficult to lead them back to the sort of heights of third place finishes and stuff, definitely pushing towards the top six. He made his name off doing that with St Johnstone punching above his weight, and they obviously got them a Scottish Cup as well. So really good appointment, I think, by Kilmarnock, and a safe appointment, it should be said as well. And at the end of this one, we heard from Jim Goodwin, who provided an update on his strikers. Happy with John Obika's performance in this one after another goal for him, but it was tinged with disappointment as well as striker Christian Dennis looks to miss the rest of the season, fortunately.
I thought it was the most complete performance that we've had for a long time. We've been very good in halves, if you like. You know, we've had a great first half, but then a really poor second half. And today, I just felt from the first minute we were at it. Everybody was on their game, and I thought we controlled the game for large periods. Probably the only criticism, we could have had a couple of more goals, if I'm being honest. I thought we got into some great areas in the first half, and you're crying out for someone to go and pull the trigger. You know, and we've got real quality with the likes of McAllister and McGrath, and Ethan Errahan scored a wonder goal at Aberdeen a few months ago. We're asking them and encouraging them to go and take some more chances. But overall, it was an excellent performance, right from the goalkeeper right through to John Obika, and even the subs that come on in the end all contributed greatly. So yeah, really pleased. Definitely Beeks has been a big player since he's came to the club. He scored massive goals for us last year, and again today gets an important goal, because at 1-0 Kilmarnock were looking dangerous, so that, you know, for him to go and get that second one, I thought his overall performance deserved the goal today. He led the line brilliantly, and you know, caused the Kilmarnock back three a lot of problems early on in the first half. But you know, we were disappointed for Dennis, because he was just looking as if he was getting up to speed, you know, fitness wise, and he got a sore one during the week, and you know, it's looking like it might be quite a lengthy one, so we're really gutted for him. But it just shows the great options that I've got available to me in the squad. You know, I went quite top heavy in terms of the squad. You know, the back lads, we don't have a great load of options in the back, but I've got players that can do a role in a position if needed. But I think the top end of the pitch is where the game is won or lost, and you know, the fact that I'm able to take players out of the quality of Brophy and Dennis and put Obika in is a real good luxury for me to have.
How long is Dennis looking at being out then?
Well, we got the results of the scan back yesterday. He's away to see a specialist on Monday, and then we'll decide then whether it needs an operation or not. But it's quite a lengthy one, unfortunately. You know, probably not see him again this season.
Then on the Sunday, Hamilton Accies 1, Rangers 1, and probably not the result people expected from this weekend. And Livingston St Johnstone looked to be the shock of the weekend on the Saturday, but Hamilton came out with it on the Sunday. And to be fair, if it wasn't for Alan McGregor making what seemed like 5 or 6 saves, Hamilton would have won this, and not just won it, comfortably won it. They had 5 or 6 really good chances that if any other goalkeeper, pretty much apart from Alan McGregor, was between the sticks, then they'd have scored. Such a good performance from them, so much heart and endeavour, quality as well. That's the main thing. People have long said about Hamilton, you know, being like cockroaches that just survive every year. But they can actually play when they get the chance to play. They can play a wee bit. Really like the look of Bruce Anderson. In attack, he looks to be a solid addition from Aberdeen, albeit not proven at Premiership level. Jamie Hamilton at 18 alongside Aaron Martin in the back looks to be a really solid option for 18. Brian Rice singing his praises post-match. Ross Callaghan in the middle, obviously the goal scorer's got that attack. I think he's their top goal scorer just now. Hakeem Adolphin as well. You could go through the full team. Really good complete performance for them, but they need to follow this up, and that's the big thing for Hamilton. Even though they could have won this game, and to be honest, it looked like they were going to lose it. It was going to be a glorious defeat. Borna Barisic's cross into the box 10 minutes from time sort of cannoned off Brian Easton and into the net. Rangers didn't really deserve that lead, but given how well they've done at the top of the Premiership this season, it perhaps wasn't a surprise. And it looked like they were just going to grind out a 1-0 victory, because that's the mood they've been in this season. But Hamilton didn't give up. They weren't disheartened. Ross Callaghan, again denied by Alan McGregor, and then he somehow managed to squeeze it under him as Alan McGregor was half hitting the floor from his previous save. Don't know how he did it. It's a pretty remarkable angle. He's got it in from Ross Callaghan. By another really good performance from Hamilton. And they have had, and I say that because they have had a few this season. The 2 performances against Mullow were really good. The away performance against Ross County, they have got a team that can play. They have got a team that can put in performances. It's just consistency. They're still stranded at the bottom a wee bit, albeit not that much. They did do ground on Ross County this weekend, but now it's 4 away games in a row for Accies, and that's a tough ask, and they're not exactly easy places either. Livingston away, Fir Park, which could be a crucial Lanarkshire derby, Easter Road, and St Mirren away as well. Then they've even got Pittodrie to contend with, as well as St Johnstone, who are going to be coming off the back of a League Cup final, I think. So it's going to be really tough for Accies in terms of picking up. They need wins urgently, really, as do all the teams down that neck of the woods. But it's going to be a real tough ask for them, but this should give them plenty of encouragement. Right, I think that's us for this review. We hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Should hopefully have lots of wee different bits and bobs coming over the weeks. Premiership previews and reviews, and then any other wee exclusive interviews or wee ideas that come ahead with the busy nature of this month as well. It's perhaps why you're not seeing as much on the YouTube in terms of our usual exclusive stuff and things like that, because there are games and press conferences pretty much every day. It's either a press conference one day, game the next, so it's a bit relentless, and by all that content's on our website and on our social media as well. So go check all that out. Right, if I've not said it once, said it a million times. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, and until next time, take it easy.